Imagine this, the dead of night, a raging storm on a vast, dark sea. A small wooden boat is being tossed around by massive waves, and the men inside are fighting for their lives. This isn't a scene from a Hollywood blockbuster. This is a real event that happened 2,000 years ago on the Sea of Galilee. The men in that boat were the disciples of Jesus, and they were terrified. They had been rowing for hours, exhausted, battling a fierce wind that pushed them further from shore. Just when they thought things couldn't get any worse, they saw something that made their blood run cold. Out in the darkness, a figure was walking toward them, right on top of the churning water. It wasn't swimming, it wasn't in another boat, it was walking on the waves as if it was solid ground. They screamed in terror, thinking they were seeing a ghost. But as the figure got closer, a familiar voice cut through the howling wind. "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." It was Jesus. He had sent them ahead across the lake while he went up a mountain to pray, and now he was coming to them in the most impossible way imaginable. The disciples were stunned, their fear turning into absolute astonishment. The storm was still raging, but here was their teacher, calmly strolling across the chaotic water. One of the disciples, a fisherman named Peter, was known for being impulsive. Seeing Jesus do the impossible ignited a spark of faith in him. He shouted out over the wind, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." And Jesus simply said, "Come." Can you imagine that moment? Everyone else is holding on for dear life inside the boat, and Peter is about to step out into a raging storm. He climbs over the side of the boat, his heart pounding. He puts one foot down onto the surface of the water, and then the other, and he doesn't sink. For a few incredible moments, Peter is doing it. He's walking on water, just like Jesus. The wind is whipping his hair, sea spray is hitting his face, but he is standing on the sea. But then, he makes a crucial mistake. He takes his eyes off Jesus and looks down at the huge waves crashing around his feet. He feels the full force of the wind, and suddenly, the reality of the storm hits him. Doubt floods his mind. How is this possible? And in that instant of fear and doubt, he begins to sink. The water that had been holding him up now felt like it was swallowing him whole. He cried out in panic, "Lord, save me!" Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand, caught him and pulled him up. As he helped a soaking wet Peter back into the boat, he asked him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" The moment they were both safely back in the boat, something even more amazing happened. The wind died down completely. The raging sea became perfectly calm. Silence. The other disciples in the boat had just witnessed a series of miracles. They saw their teacher defy the laws of nature. They saw their friend walk on water and then sink, and then they saw the entire storm vanish in an instant. They were no longer just afraid or amazed. They were in complete awe. They looked at Jesus, not just as a great teacher anymore, but as someone with divine authority, someone who could command the wind and the waves. They fell to their knees and worshipped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." This event wasn't just about showing off supernatural power. It was a profound lesson about faith and fear. Peter walked on water when his focus was on Jesus, but he sank when he focused on the storm around him. It teaches us that when we face the storms in our own lives, our fears, our anxieties, our impossible situations, where we choose to put our focus makes all the difference. Trust in something greater than the storm can help us do what seems impossible, but letting fear and doubt take over can cause us to sink. This story has echoed through centuries because it speaks to a universal human experience. We all have storms. We all have moments where we feel like we're in a tiny boat, tossed by waves that are too big for us to handle. We're rowing as hard as we can, but we feel like we're getting nowhere. And in those moments, it's easy to feel alone and terrified. This story offers a different perspective. It suggests that even in the darkest, most chaotic moments, help can appear in the most unexpected way. It challenges us to look beyond the waves, to look for a source of strength and peace that isn't affected by the storm. It's a powerful reminder that faith isn't about the absence of storms, but about who we trust in the middle of them. Think about it in your own life. What are your storms? What are the waves of anxiety, worry, or difficulty that threaten to overwhelm you? Where do you tend to fix your eyes? Do you focus on the size of the waves, like Peter did, and start to sink under the weight of it all? Or do you look for that source of calm, that voice that says, "Don't be afraid"? This isn't just an ancient tale. It's a blueprint for navigating life's challenges. It shows that a shift in perspective, a conscious choice to trust, can change everything. It can calm the internal chaos and give you the strength to get back in the boat, safe from the storm. The disciples' lives were forever changed on that sea. They understood that the man they were following was unlike anyone who had ever lived. And the lesson they learned, the power of faith over fear, is just as relevant for us today as it was for them in that little boat 2,000 years ago. If this story resonated with you, and you want to explore more incredible events and timeless lessons, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We dive deep into stories that have shaped history and continue to inspire millions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.